You guys, finally, we can do our color grading tutorial. Dehancer has been very generous enough to give me an affiliate code, so if you guys like how Dehancer works and how it kind of guides you through color grading, you guys can use my affiliate code. It'll support me. Really quick though, I do want to say color grading is a subjective thing, so there is no right or wrong way to do so. So it can look discouraging, but Dehancer does a great way of making guidelines for new people like me who picked up color grading not too long ago, and I've been loving learning how to color grade, and it's been working out. People love it, so it's because of you guys that I'm here doing this tutorial to begin with. So let's get into it. I know it looks a little bad, but hear me out. So you're gonna have to change your source. It's defaulted to Rec 709, but you're gonna want to change it to your camera. Choose camera, and then you change it to the brand, and then your camera model. They have a select assortment of them. So just look for what you have. If not, just use something similar. For example, they don't have the A7C Mark II, but it is the same sensor as the A7 IV, so I would use that if you're using the A7 II, and little stuff like that. So once you put your camera inputs, I shoot on the FX30, and this was S-Log3 with the Gamma C, with the Gamma 3 Cine color gamut, and it still looks a little funky, so we got to adjust a few things. We're going to do the temperature and tint, which is pretty much the white balance, and we're going to adjust the exposure here a little bit as well. So I'm going to cool it down for now. And really quick, it does default enable film grain, but I'm disabling this for now, and then we're going to get back to it when it's time. So once you adjust your white balance and the exposure, you can now go to your film stock, and they have a big selection of film stocks. The default is Kodak Vision 250. It's just the most common one. So if you're starting out, definitely just stick with that one for now until you kind of get the gist of how to use Dehancer. And you can push pull. So if you want less of the stock or more of the film stock, I believe that's what push pull is. To be honest, I have no idea. I just kind of trial and error, you know. But I'm gonna go more to the left for this. And then once you're happy with how the film stock, whatever film stock you choose in the push pull, you can then drop down the film developer. Film developer is kind of where you bring the footage to life, in my opinion. I enable it, and I bring that color boost up to about 30 to 50, depending on the footage itself. As you can see, the color boost brings all those colors back in, and it's a lot different. Or color boost in Dehancer works a lot different than the color boost in DaVinci. So I think a lot of people do prefer to use the built-in Dehancer color boost. You can adjust the contrast just a t-bit, and that's all I do for film develop. I really just bring those colors back in. The contrast boost is subjective if you feel like it needs it, but other than that, I would just mess with the color boost and then go to the next step. So film compression I don't usually touch, but that's where you want to just adjust highlights if they're blown out and whatnot, stuff like that. And then the next big part in Dehancer that I would recommend messing with or learning is the print tab. They have a few different profiles. They have linear, they have Cine on film log, and they have Fujifilm 3513 print film, which looks like this. And then they have Kodak 2383 print film, which is pretty much the standard for most people. I think you're going to see a lot of 2383 print film paired with the Kodak Vision 250. That's kind of like stable color combination. I'm going to bring down the exposure just a little bit, get a little bit more tonal contrast, maybe not. Bring that density up, and I'm going to bring down the exposure again, color density. And as you can see, we're going to need to go back all the way up here and add a little bit of blues. So we're going to go back to the white balance here and bring back a little bit of those blues. Maybe do a little bit of reds here as well. And we can go back to the push pull. I think I'm going to go like almost about 50. And that's it with the print side. Now we can start doing the color head, which is Dehancer's version of the color wheels. If you enable those, you can kind of start messing with the colors here. So blue, I'm gonna actually make more towards the yellow. Just add a little bit of yellow in the shadows. It's, as you can see, kind of affects it a little bit. Magenta greens. You don't have to do everything, but I like to kind of mess with each knob and kind of see how it's affecting the footage. I'm gonna actually go ahead and bring the color boost up a little bit more, just because. There we go. And now we can go back to the film, or I'm sorry, now we can go back to the grain. Now the grain is amazing for Dehancer. Like, if there's one thing you do get from Dehancer, definitely get the grain. The grain in Dehancer has so much customization, as I'm about to show you right now. There's just so much you can do, from highlights, shadows, midtones. You can change the type of film, positive, negative. Like, it's great. That's like the one thing I love about Dehancer is the customization in the film grain is unmatched compared to DaVinci's, to be honest. But I usually do about 258, 254, very, very small numbers. I don't like my grain to look too crazy, or at least I'm learning to not like my grain too crazy. I think the last two videos, the grain was pretty nuts, which I'm trying to learn. Again, I'm adjusting my grain settings as I edit. And it has its own halation tab that you can add. I usually do super 16/16 millimeter, and I don't do too much on any of these. If you don't know what halation does, it pretty much just adds a little bit of a red outline. I just maxed it out so you guys can see what it does. But again, I really only do like about 6 or 8 on it. And then bloom just kind of softens the image a little bit, in my opinion. So I like adding that. Again, I don't go anything over 10 in a lot of these effects. And that's about it. As you kind of learn Dehancer and whatnot, like I said, all these adjustments are very minimal, but at the end of the day, like, this is a beautiful image. And if I go back to the way it looked, this was the before right here and the after. I do have a second clip. In the second clip, it was a different day, different kind of lighting condition and whatnot, but same premise. We do have a lot of blue skies, a lot of clouds, greens. So I thought these two clips would be a good example to show how you're able to use Dehancer, just because there's a lot of colors and a lot of things in the scene itself. So again, we're gonna go ahead and put Dehancer in here. We do got to do our camera adjustments here. So we're gonna go choose camera, and we're gonna hit Sony FX30, and then the ISO that it was shot in and the color gamut. So boom, boom. And again, we're adjusting our exposure. Again, I like to turn off my film to do all this. So turning the film grim off, and then we adjust our exposure as is. Sony log, you are supposed to show a little bit overexposed, so I always like to tone it down a little bit when it comes to the input. And then we adjust our white balance with our temperatures here. And in this case, like I said, it was a little bit more of a harsher day with the sun, so I am going to go more on the colder side. And now we're going to go film stock. I did show you 250D with the first clip here, so I'm actually going to do the Eternal one just to give you more of a rundown of how I use different film stock. So I turn up 500 here. I think I'm going to go more to the left, but it does bring up a lot of those shadows, so I'm going to show you how to kind of combat that a little bit. And again, we want to bring that up, enable the film developer, bring that contrast boost up. I'm actually going to do way more than I would have with the 250D, just because of how like contrasty this film stock is. And this already looks great in my opinion, but we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more. I'm going to bring the contrast up a little bit just because those shadows. And then once I make those adjustments, I might even go back to the push pull. Maybe I like the way that it looks, but I don't. So we are gonna go and do that contrast boost again. Boom, boom. And this looks already amazing. Like, I could call it a day here and be happy with the shot. Now the print is where it'll kind of affect the way the footage looks as is. I mean, again, you could keep it like this, but 2383 Kodak print film is the one that's like used more common. I use that in the other clip, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually do the glossy film in this one, the glossy paper. And it does crunch the contrast a little bit, and I'm actually gonna bring up the exposure just a tad. and I guess it almost looks identical to how it would look with linear, but as you can see, the green areas, it is like less contrasty, so I just like the way it crunches everything. I might even add a little bit more color density and maybe even put the tonal contrast a little bit higher, just so it crunches it a little bit more. And this is a beauty. Once I like the print, I do like to adjust with the color head again. Maybe add a little bit more blue or green. I like to just enable this so I can kind of see how it's affecting the footage. So maybe I'm gonna add a little bit more blue. The green, I'm actually gonna leave alone. And the cyan, I'm actually gonna go left on the cyan. And there we go. Now we can go back to the film grain. In this case, I'm actually going to show you like one of the default settings, just because I showed you how you can use a customization one. 50 ISO, 60mm, and again I'm going to bring that down to like about 4, and that's how it looks. Again, not too bad, pretty good. Halation, I'm going to turn this on, 16mm super 16. Bring that halation in. We're going to go about a 4 for the halation. You can see it's very minimal here around his hat and stuff. So maybe I'll bump that up a little bit, up to like maybe a 6. Yeah, that's like a little bit better. And the bloom again, like it makes the image look a little bit soft. So I like to do that and maybe do like a 6. And that looks amazing in my opinion. So that is the general gist of Dehancer. It's a great plugin for those who are looking to get into color grading, but when you open up DaVinci, you just see a bunch of color wheels, a bunch of nodes and whatnot. This is just one node. It gets the perfect amount of guidelines. Definitely check it out. Again, if you guys are interested in using Dehancer or want to get certain effects, they do sell the film grain separately. They sell the halation separately. So if maybe you just want those effects, you can definitely do those as well. Just use my code JReyes10 for 10% off when you check out. And I am doing a giveaway for their mobile app. I am giving away a year subscription for their mobile app, and it's pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and put before and after photos of photos that I edited using the Dehancer mobile app. And same thing, it has film stocks, it has film prints, it has all these little knobs and stuff that you can do just with photos and video on your phone. So that's going to be something. If you guys are interested in entering, just go ahead and subscribe and like the video, and I'm going to go ahead and do that in about a week or so. First tutorial video, might have been a little crazy, but thanks if you guys stuck around. Again, if you guys are interested in that giveaway, sub and like, and anything you guys want to critique or any questions you have about color grading, definitely drop them down in the comments, because I'm sure I missed some things that I maybe meant to mention, but I don't script my videos, so we're learning. Dehancer is available in Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, so it's available to everybody. Again, if you're interested, JReyes10 at checkout, 10% off. And thank you guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.